Alright, Ulm, turn 93, continuing to do our summoning, also mixing in just some regular reanimation. Early age Ulm does get some better long dead from reanimation, but probably was not the best use of death gems. I've since found that it's better to try to get mages that can summon skeletons on the battlefield rather than doing the ritual reanimation. But there is some value in having some long dead at the very start of a battle, especially if you're using like a lot of Wraith Lords like we have, just so that some anti-undead spells have something else to target. But anyway, yeah, we're doing some reanimation. They will be good in terms of darkness, also against the Wailing Winds play. So not the worst troop option in this situation. They also don't take any upkeep because you have no money. So yeah, and then we tried Mind Hunt, but unfortunately the enemy resisted the spell. Actually, take a look. We do have some penetration gear, not full penetration. A Rune Smasher would be nice, but obviously we lost at least one of those in our Winds of Death attempt. And then the raiding war continues apace, so this is kind of an interesting one. It looks like this is in Helheim's territory, in their dominion. You can see from the dark skies, we have just sort of the leftovers of an Axe Warrior group, along with, some of our mages. This is actually probably remnants from our army, based on, like, the items that these guys have. And I usually, well, let's see if this is unkitted Van Jarl, which is pretty normal from Helheim. And I don't think we're really set up here for, we're not on advance and cast spells, so we're definitely not set up. It looks like, did he just run? Oh no, he flew to the back, which is probably a good thing, because now we're in range. Frozen Heart, so this is one of our guys that, he's water 2, although he's still fatigued out. And then, somebody just nailed him, actually. Looks like one of the Axe Warriors. That's kind of interesting. I wonder if maybe he would fatigued out. No, he's just almost dead, it looks like. So, Misform negated a little bit, but I guess he only had 1 hit point left. So, anytime you're killing Van Jarls, that's a win in my book. We don't lose too much in response. We do lose a Warrior Smith, which hurts, but, we need to reduce our upkeep costs anyway. Still trying to get a little site searching in for death. Really could use some more death gems. And then this is us trying to jump back on top of the throne, mostly because these wyverns just don't really have anywhere to go, and these are our non-stealthy mages. Just sending these guys in. They're, unkitted. They're mostly there for their magic leadership, but we don't have any of those left. But Helheim is still patrolling with some stuff. It looks like, he's got a Wailing Winds caster here, I'm assuming. So he doesn't need a whole lot. And then, this is just some PD, and he's got like some trolls as bodyguards, but I don't think our wyverns are going to last too long here because, they have morale 4. So it's just, not particularly useful, but these units didn't really have a lot of places that they could go. Maybe should have, there were other places they could have gone, like trying to jump right back on the throne. Was I feel like not necessarily super predictable, although it was like what I had been doing, so clearly he predicted it. And those units probably don't have any retreat path, so this is probably a complete wipe, which is unfortunate. But that's what happens when an invasion fails completely. Maybe could have done, definitely could have done a better job in terms of keeping our retreat routes open, and talked about before, but should have pulled out earlier. And then we lose an undefended province, we're broke. And then our Axe Warriors, they do their thing, raiding against minimal PD. And then this was a slightly interesting battle. So this is more Helheim raiding, and it's a Van Jarl unkitted. Let's see what we have to oppose him. Just kind of some birds, some mages. Turns out the birds do the trick. Let's just double check. I'm pretty sure it was the birds that got him. Let's see here. Just a ton of Blackhawks. Let's see who actually. There you go, Blackhawk. So Blackhawks can take out unkitted Van Jarls. Like, the fact that they jump in on turn 1, means that they can't get through their script. So if you're relying on Mist Form or even your Bless, I think he might have been able to get his Bless off. So you kind of have like, one spell that you can get off if you're up against the birds. But yeah, Blackhawks, they're not great, but in an anti-rating capacity, not terrible actually. And I mean, elves dying to birds is, just classic. And then, yeah, we take control of some provinces, right, that have no PD. So, Helheim is definitely, everybody's feeling the effects of the Armageddons. And then we have some Axe Warriors doing their thing. And then, we take control of a province, no PD. There is a fort here, though, so, not a long-term success. And then here's Van Jarl knocking out, some minimal PD. And then this is not an important battle, but yeah, this is Helheim's army moving forward. So I thought we would have more time, but we didn't deal that much damage. So I think, yeah, there was just like a Mountain King here holding down the fort. And like, yeah, this is quite a bit of stuff. This is like pretty much like similar to what we fought before, maybe brought in a few extra elements, but yeah, and it is moving. This is where Helheim magic phased the fort in. We'll take a look in a second, but yeah, they're coming for our throne, definitely. And then we get raided by more Van Jarls. Actually kind of surprising. It was a group of 3 Van Jarls, and one of them, I mean, this is a decent amount of PD, but yeah, I'm still kind of surprised that Van Jarl's killed. I'm assuming that they're all, yeah, unkitted. I don't know, one of them's carrying some kit. Yeah, I was thinking maybe like one of them was diseased or crippled or something like that. Looks like, yeah, Glamour gets popped by the arrows. And then, yeah, looks like one of them just gets killed by some heavy infantry. So, yeah. Even elves mess up sometimes. And then, yeah, we get a province captured, no PD, another one captured, no PD. We take control of a province that had no PD. These are our Ivy Kings locking down Arcocephali. So, that should help a little bit with the income issues. And then, speaking of income issues, we lose an undefended province. We take control of an undefended province. You can see in this like late game situation, it's kind of whatever you can throw together. And then, yeah, Van Jarl knocks out. This will now be another province that is undefended in the future, most likely. And then, yeah, undefended province conquered by the enemy. This is Father Illerith rolling out against Baratos. This is probably just, remains. I think Baratos is in quite a bit of trouble. And I keep saying that, Yomi is done, but they are not. They have another, pile of garbage. We can take a quick look here. This looks like it's probably on top of a fort. Yep. So Helheim is, I don't know. Oh, he's cursed. So, just sending in like the one unkitted Van Jarl. Does he even go in, I wonder? Like a lot of times he just, oh, okay. So interesting. So he's summoning some wyverns too. So yeah, probably the wyverns will get him, but like, yep, Yomi has like another absolute massive pile of stuff. This is probably a throne province because he's got a bunch of these wind masters. So it's probably like the throne of air, and he's got some Dione left here, and yeah, he's also summoning in some mechanical men. So yeah, Yomi has like another pile of stuff, and actually like a decent amount of casters with this force. So this will be, a little annoying to take down, although, yeah, I mean, the morale issues, I'm not really sure how Yomi's going to get around that, so we'll see. So yeah, just kind of highlights that Yomi can get a lot of free spawn. They make it to the end game. And then, yeah, random events. So there's a hurricane. That's fine. The Barbarians Attack, of course. This is actually kind of extra annoying. So, yeah, we'll take a look at that. And then, hey, some more Barbarian Scouts. Like, sure, why not? And then, yeah, here's the Barbarians. They knock out our minimal PD. And then, yeah, we patrolled out of Van Jarl. This is, yeah, on our capital. So, yeah, we have plenty of stuff patrolling. And take a quick look. What actually killed this Van Jarl? Is he kitted? This one is actually kitted. So he's got a Flesh Eater, for the Berserk, and a Vine Shield, because they're really good. Yeah, we have all kinds of stuff here. There's some Weapons of Sharpness going down. So, yeah, it could be a wide variety of things. Ooh, looks like actually that might be our prophet that got him, because we get the Word of Stone, which petrifies him. Looks like he also just took some damage from our Axe Warriors. The Vine Shield is extra effective against early age Alm, as is many things, because of our absolutely abysmal magic resistance. So it's a magic resistance check to prevent yourself from getting vined. Then it's a strength check to get out of it. And you'd think, like, I mean, we have decent strength. Yeah, come on, guys. But they probably just, they're breaking it and then getting, like, rewrapped immediately. So it looks like probably it's our prophet that ends up coming away with it, and like, yeah, some chip damage, and there's Frozen Heart. Yep. So, a variety of tools, and yeah, just demonstrating that our our troops at this point are not fantastic. And then, just a few other things, like we have a few forts under siege, but, we're not really in a position to actually crack any walls. We're under siege. This is our throne, but I think it's just a Van Jarl or something that's locked it down, but, the army is coming. So yeah, here, like, probably our axe warriors, they can break it down a little bit, but we're not actually going to get into any forts here. And then patrolling, and then of course, yeah, we can't pay for our troops, although we came pretty close, right? We only had 3 units desert, so I think like with our alchemy, we got close to our upkeep needs, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. And then yeah, we had some leftover mercenaries that left. And then, yeah, diseases, so, etc. And then Baratos was knocked out. All right, so what are we up to this turn? Not too much, actually. We've lost quite a bit, so we're, in terms of, like, what the raiding actually looks like, we still have some, deep raiding happening in our territory. But, like, overall, we still have our flag in most of our core territories. So the raiding war is actually going okay. We've definitely been rolled back in areas that, like, we were raiding Helheim's territory. So, actually, let's take a look at the province graph, because that... Yeah, so we're down a little bit this turn, but, we were up last turn, like, relatively, like, stable. Like, we're giving as good as we get. We're not really getting any advantage in the raiding war, but, we're also not getting rolled over in terms of raiding. So, we're still doing, like, a little bit of raiding down here, just because this is where we have our units. This raiding is like less effective now. Like still, some of these like were connected to, yeah, we unlocked this fort. So we still have a little bit of raiding going on down here. Obviously, like, yeah, we don't really, there's a few wyverns. Looks like these guys did actually survive. So they did have a retreat path open, but only the one. So like, yeah, a lot of the wyverns died in the battle, and then a lot died like in the retreat. Not even sure. Yeah, these guys are just going to go like hit this other fort. Like they can't really get out. Maybe they could join with this not Axe Warrior, Steel Maiden group. So yeah, at this point, like I've kind of, these units are they're already dead. I think essentially in my mind, don't really have any plans to try to bring them home. Partially because so this is where that big old army from Helheim is, and like probably they're coming for the throne. They might try to jump up on top of Old Man Mountains. I don't know if they know that, we have the conjuration site there and like how important this is for us. This is where like pretty much all of our immortals live. So, I think there is an argument for spreading out your immortals. I don't know. You could go either way, right? It's like you just really defend one point, and then make sure that you don't lose that one point. Because that's one of the ways that you can kill immortals, right? Is that because where you summon them, that's like their home province, right? So if the enemy takes that home province and then the immortal is killed, then they die permanently. They don't come back. So yeah, both of these provinces are very important to us. So our defenses are split. Doing a little bit of patrolling to try to make sure that a Van Jarl thug doesn't lock down the fort. We're not actually attempting a breakout from this fort this turn. So if he was to take this force and jump on top of Old Man Mountains and one turn crack it, which is maybe possible. He has a lot of siege strength here, definitely. We have a decent amount of siege defense, although it looks like, yeah, most of it. So he probably could one turn pop this fort. It's a decent fort, though. I think it's 500 wall strength, right? Yeah, so maybe. But yeah, so if he moved up to Old Man Mountains and one turn cracked it, because this fort is locked down and we're not breaking out, we would not be able to move to support Old Man Mountains. So that's kind of a downside. Probably should have tried to break siege. I am expecting him to jump on top of this, so anything that we break siege with would probably die to that army. And, we don't have a ton of stuff to be sacrificing. But, it wouldn't take too much to, kill a single unkitted Van Jarl. It's probably unkitted. We could throw like Shiverleaf at him. So yeah, that's probably a mistake, but fairly confident that he's going for the throne, and we are patrolling on top of Old Man Mountains to make sure it doesn't get locked down, and that this force will be able to come join in a battle on top of our throne. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing that's going on this turn. otherwise, just continuing to raid in a few places, trying to retake our territory. I think we have a few, so leaving some guys out to patrol. Yeah, probably. Well, we don't. Yeah, so we're patrolling this fort, and we're patrolling, this fort as well. So patrolling our forts, it'd be nice to get somebody here because these were just raided, so there's a good chance that he comes here. But, we are somewhat limited. Yeah, we have another, swarm caster patrolling here. So, trying to defend our territory, retake our territory, but mostly, just getting ready to try to stop this army. Oh, yeah. And of course, the barbarians. So they took this province, which is very sad because there are a ton of gems here. Again, probably should have invested in more PD. Or something, and definitely should have paid more attention to where the barbarian attack was happening. It's if you lose a province like this province, if we lost to the barbarians with all this unrest and it's making us no money, especially because it's cut off, but there's no gems here, it's sort of don't worry, if the barbarians take it for a turn or two, that's fine. But a province like this, it's if this is, and you usually get not always, but usually you get a notification where it's there's probably going to be an independent attack here. This is absolutely a province that is worth moving something in to try to defend against that barbarian attack, whatever that is. So yeah, that's definitely a mistake on my part. But what extra hurts is we can't actually easily get to this because these are all closed mountain passes to get into this cave. Now, this is where our research corps got trapped for a little while, right? So we'd have to go through Ur's territory, if we don't have stuff with mountain survival, and our regular troops do have mountain survival, so it used to not be that hard to get into that cave, but we don't really have any regular troops anymore. A few of them scattered around here and there, so the bears, the bears could get in. So we could take a bunch of bears, but they're not great in combat. It's not really so the mechanical men, they can't actually get in there, and I don't think the Wraith Lords can't get in there, a lot of our commanders, so we're gonna have to take some of our mages along with some bears, I guess, is gonna have to be the play. So we're not actually doing anything this turn. Probably should have reacted immediately to this. Again, still not really properly valuing these really high. It's not that I didn't know that they were valuable, but it's just don't even, even wasting a single turn, definitely need to react to this kind of stuff faster. Like I said, ideally, don't even lose it in the first place. But yeah, it is kind of annoying to get to. A lot of our stuff now, can't actually move back in there. So screw you, barbarians. And yeah, I think that covers turn 93. Wait, no, I lied. I promised a throne discussion. So Helheim is currently sitting at 10 ascension points in terms of what they already have claimed. So they need 3 more thrones, which will net them the 6 more ascension points that they need for the 16 total. So clearly, one of the thrones they're going for is here. We're very familiar with that. And then that giant stack of Oni, right, that Yomi has, that's another throne, right? So that'll get them 2 thrones, assuming they capture both of these. And then they currently have a throne of Vanheim's locked down and cracked. So we're sending a scout in there, to kind of see what the situation is there. But yeah, I think if they get those 3 thrones and they don't lose any other thrones, and I don't really think they're at risk of losing any other thrones. We have eyes on this throne, no sieging force. We have eyes on this throne, no sieging force. We have eyes on this throne, no sieging force. So at least at the moment, it doesn't really look like any of their own thrones. Yeah, here's another one. We do not actually, we would see if there's a sieging force. We have eyes on this one as well. So, at least doing a decent job with the scouts so that I am aware of the game state. Yeah, here's another one. Yeah, he's got a lot of thrones. So yeah, I think this is a really good idea. I'll definitely, try to do this in the future. When it gets late game like this, you want to know when somebody is about to win. So I think having scouts near all the thrones so you can keep an eye on what's going on with them. Definitely worthwhile. Probably there's other ways to do it, scrying, or there's lots of different ways to scout, but yeah, so Helheim, they need 3 more thrones, and they've got an army moving towards ours. They have an army sitting on top of another one, and then they have something, we don't really know how much, but it's at least enough to have cracked this fort. So probably an army sitting on that, and that'll net them the victory. So this game is looking like it's pretty close to done, and yeah. No, I think that covers turn 93. All right, Ulm, turn 94. So this is our fortress on top of the throne. It's getting hit with crumble. We didn't lose too much. 117 were wounded. Hopefully nobody important died. Probably is just long dead. Speaking of long dead, doing some more reanimation, awakening Ivy Kings, like all of our normal, summoning, and then mind hunt, but sadly still resisted. So yeah, this definitely happens a lot. Like, we don't have a very powerful astral caster, right? We just have like a Crystal Amazon who's been boosted up to like just the level that she needs to be able to cast the spell, and we don't have like the full penetration items. So I think you really do want a more powerful astral caster with as much penetration gear as you can muster. Otherwise, you're going to be seeing this a lot, and you're going to see it anyway. And then I'm going to try to roll through the rating stuff fairly quickly. It's all pretty normal. So, we lose a province. This is our wolves. So, yeah, wolves can raid against minimum PD. I think we've seen that before. Yeah, another province losing more provinces. Steel Maidens doing their thing. This is one of Vanheim's Van Jarls. So, Vanheim and Helheim definitely fighting. And I was actually incorrect. We did try to break out from our throne last turn. But of course, it bumps into his army, so it looks like his army did jump on top of our throne fort, and so it's gonna be locked down. This was maybe ambitious. I'm not sure that this would have actually taken out a Van Jarl, but regardless, it definitely can't take out that army from Helheim. So we've seen that before. I don't think there's any need to go through it. We're gonna see it in action in the near future. So yeah, Wraithlord doing his thing, Steel Maidens raiding, Van Jarl taking back some independent land. I think Helheim also took Misfortune, so there's plenty of barbarians and Misfortune running around. We lose an undefended province. We lose another undefended province. Van Jarl cleans out a few of our remaining wyverns. We lose another province. Wraithlord takes a province. Axe Warriors take a province. More Axe Warriors taking provinces. This is a little bit interesting. So Vanheim has a Ice Devil. That's kind of cool. So they're hopping on one of Helheim's forts, and he's got plenty. Oh, these are Van Herses. Yeah, that's right. He went for a lot of Van Herses. Although I'm sure, there's plenty of Van Jarls in here as well. But yeah, so he's decently high level blood research. It looks like he's set up kind of as a thug. But yeah, so the Ice Devils are kind of an interesting unit. Haven't really seen them yet. They're not this, I think it's minimal PD or, it looks like. So Van Herse, these are probably, team colored squares. Yeah, these are Vanheim's Great Eagles. So yeah, lots of people use Great Eagles. Anytime you have access to air, I think you need air 3 to summon them in. But yeah, just great siege strength. And they're okay in combat. It's not really where they shine, but yeah. And then sadly, our, mages and remaining wyverns that we assumed were going to die ended up bumping into Vanheim, which I think he apologized for, but it was totally fine. I was like, we our efforts failed, so really probably again kind of doing me a favor, reducing my upkeep. And then this was kind of sad actually. So I'd left my Ivy Kings sitting on top of Arcocephali, which was a mistake. I figured it's a valuable province. A more valuable province. So, maybe better to lock it down. Certainly didn't need 2 of them sitting here locking it down. But, anytime you leave anything in position for a while, right, you give your opponent an opportunity to tailor a response. I think, this is one of these Soul Slay Golems. Then he also has, this guy's probably set up for, Petrify, Advance and Cast Spell. He's got, this is a regular dwarf, not one of the dwarves of the 4 corners or whatever, the ones that hold the sky up. And this guy probably did darkness. So anyway, I don't think our guys are going to do fantastic in darkness. Actually, better than I would have thought. Yeah, wow. But yeah, I think it's the Soul Slay that's going to be the problem for him, because actually Magic Resistance 21, that ain't half bad. But there you go. And our other guy was already gone. Probably also Soul Slay. Let's take a quick look. So there's one of them getting Soul Slayed, and there's the other one getting Soul Slayed. So even if you have over 20 Magic Resistance, I think usually it's 25, 26, then you're starting to be in a better place. But yeah, Soul Slay is, super dangerous when you're just using like 1 or 2 units. And so yeah, so we lose both of our Ivy Kings, who are, fully kitted out and probably a little irresponsible, to have created them in the first place. But, it was fun while it lasted. One of them was a hero. Like, I don't know. I regret nothing except pulling them off the fort. So, they could have done more work for us. But, just, yeah, another example of Helheim, good use of like a tailored like kill squad. And then, the raiding continues. Actually, this is a decently sized, not a large battle, but, more of a like Vanheim. And I think, yeah, wow, a lot of blood slaves here with this army. Not a ton from Helheim. Let's see, he also has a kitted out Ivy King. And then, okay, actually, there's a decent amount of kit here. Yeah, so this will definitely hurt. Because I think I heard some air elemental summoning. Yeah, so like a good amount of air elemental spam from Vanheim here, and like there are so many casters here from Vanheim, and then possibly summoning some water elementals, but these might also be from like water bottles. One of the nice things about, water bottles have a lot of uses, but and then imps, and there's a storm up probably. Yeah, it's probably from lifelong protection. But yeah, just getting like free water elementals every battle, essentially. Obviously it's not free because the item costs, 10 water gems up front, but once you pay that cost, you don't have to think about it, right? Every battle you just get those water elementals, or, if it's cold enough, ice elementals. So not 100% sure. Yeah, I guess, actually, let's take a look. Could be the Kokithia that was summoning them, because Vanheim is just not somebody that usually gets like a lot of water. Yeah, actually could very well be the Kokithia that was summoning him, so maybe not. Yeah, living water. Yeah, so it was the Kokithia, so never mind, not water bottles, although, that is still true about water bottles. So yeah, that does not work out for Helheim, so that's good news. And then, yeah, another thing that doesn't work out for Helheim, is this the same force? No, this is something different. So yeah, another Van Jarl that's raiding, probably unkitted. Let's take a quick look. Helheim, seems to be doing a pretty good job. No, somewhat expensive kitting, actually. Like, it's like 25 gems, but yeah, runs into like a full army. So, that's some elf on elf action that's going to happen, right? Like, he's got the trolls, so, this force is a little easier to spot, and like the dwarf is not stealthy, but yeah, the Van Herses are stealthy, yeah, both glamored and stealthy, so. But the Van Here's, yeah, also stealthy and glamored. So yeah, Vanheim can put together some really scary stealthy forces, but yeah, that's just a bump there. And then our wolves doing their thing. We tried to use a Mountain King to just take a province, but ran into just a couple Blackhawks, and he survived, but he retreated, so yeah, that didn't really work out. And then some events, so yeah, Hurricane, and of course more Barbarians. Some unrest. There's all sorts of stuff happening. And then, yeah, people are displeased. Fair enough. And then, yeah, here's some more Barbarians. This is kind of sad because it bumps into like one of our raiding squads. So we lose that raiding squad. Thanks a bunch, Barbarians. And then, yeah, there was Helheim did manage to get a 1-turn crack on top of our throne fortification. So there's a good chance there'll be a storm, and then we're under siege in a fort, but they can't break it down. And then this is just one of our like axe warrior groups on top of Machaka, so they're not realistically going to break in. And yeah, some other sort of raid, and then yeah, some patrolling, and then of course, yeah, we can't afford our units. And then yeah, let's see what we're up to here this turn. So yeah, we are taking back this province finally. Well, not finally, but should have just gone in immediately. Like, yeah, some Blade Wind, like, should be enough. 30 bears. Blade Wind is going to be good against the Barbarians because they have low protection. So kind of sad to lose all this research, but honestly, like, I don't think Evocation 8 is actually really even going to help us all that much, because while, Pillar of Fire is a really good spell, we don't actually have a ton of Fire 2s. We may not even have any Fire 2s anymore, and, like, yeah, our Fire 1s can do it, but we don't have a ton of Fire Gems, and of course, yeah, we're not even going to hit that research. We don't have it in time to script it, because, yeah, Helheim could assault the fort this turn. However, we're just going to break siege. So that's really like the main thing that we're doing. We actually outnumber Helheim. I'm pretty sure. Like, yeah, it says 230, but what is it actually? Let's take a look. Yeah, it's actually pretty accurate. 227. I guess 225 now because we killed 2 long dead horsemen. But I think even considering, and that's a bit larger than a lot of the forces that Helheim has been using, but we have like a ton of stuff. So since we're going to be outnumbering Helheim, I actually think that fighting inside the fort might be not to our advantage. Usually you want to fight inside the fort and use that choke point if the enemy outnumbers you. And then, of course, the fact also that, we've seen Helheim use mass flight and, sitting inside the fort while he's going to use Wailing Winds, which is going to be a lot less effective, right? Because we're in our own dominion now, so we don't have to worry about dark skies. But still, even just Wailing Winds is not going to be great for us. But yeah, so like sitting in our fort while we're getting hit by Wailing Winds, and like he's going to have mass flight, and we outnumber him. And then of course too, like we wouldn't be able to combine with our other forces here in Old Man Mountain. So we're going to break siege. We're trying to bring everything out. We're bringing almost like anything that I felt might be useful, like halfway useful, is coming with. So like this is the majority. It's kind of like, well, like why hold anything back? And so let's actually run through this army. It's kind of madness. You see, it's sort of like everything in the kitchen sink. I definitely don't fully remember or understand everything that I was trying to do here, but we'll try to cover like the main points. In terms of main components, we just have some birds, we have some bears. We're just gonna throw them in at the front, like that's fine. Shiverleaf is going to lead the charge, and he's been fully kitted out. This is not like effective. Right, from like a gameplay standpoint, but my understanding is anytime you get a lumber construct, the Dominion's gods really frown upon you if you do not thug them out. So this is essentially my sacrifice to the Dominion's gods, for success in future games. So I don't really recommend that you do this, if you're not superstitious, but, I'm a little stitious. So, gonna send him out, and hopefully it'll be entertaining. He's attack closest, not going to pick up any buffs, just going to go right in and waste a bunch of gear, but that's fine. So, we have great swords, of course. Let's see, what else? So line of our, like, crappy long dead first that are hopefully going to soak up, like, any kind of anti-undead stuff. And then we have, our Wraith Lords behind that. A lot of them, you can see they have the troll bodyguards, right? So they're going to be trying to do Soul Vortex. That'll hopefully keep them going, and they're just going to hopefully send out just a infinite stream of skeletons. And then we also have, a couple that have been kitted out. Not super heavily kitted, but, some kit. So they'll be going into melee. And then we have a line of like our better long dead who hopefully will actually do something. Here's where our great swords are. Our god is back, and here, major earth caster. We'll take a look at like who all is casting what in a second. But they'll definitely be doing some buffs. We have our wyverns here who sadly will probably just be waddling, not actually flying, because it'll be the immediate storm. But we got them. We'll send them in. We have like a large contingent of mechanical men. We're bringing in our golems who are using as anti-golem killers, but we have them. We're using our. I think we're completely switched over, so that's good. Our Ivy Kings, we're utilizing them as casters, not as heavy thugs or super combatants, so that's a good change. We're bringing our Yetis out, so we have like 2 different lines of Yetis, another line of mechanical men, a few leftover steel maidens, and then just like all the casters that we could muster. So in terms of like what are we casting, kind of everything in the kitchen sink. So Serpent's Blessing, right? You never know. I'm pretty sure we're casting Foul Vapors as well. So, we need to protect ourselves from our own foul vapors, and hey, maybe he won't put up, poison resistance. We have a bunch of like lamer, like our Earth 2 guys, most of them, right? They're doing the standard like Legions of Steel, Strength of Giants. So just trying to buff our troops. For the lamer casters, like kind of lower level evocations, magma bolts, things like that. Of somewhat of note, we're trying to use this Rage of the Cornered Rat, which provokes animals into a berserker rage, and our wyverns are animals. Yeah, our wyverns are animals, so we're gonna try to berserk our wyverns to make sure that they don't have morale problems and that they will be able to waddle their way over and actually engage in combat. So we'll see. So that's kind of a new thing. So we have quite a few casters doing that. It doesn't have the best area of effect. It's a little. It's not one square, but it's not massive either. And then, of course, these wyverns are kind of hard to hit because they're just one per square. So we have quite a few. That's pretty much what most of these casters, in this box, are going to be trying to do, at least at first. And then, a little bit of swarm, of course, classic. This is a communion slave. So, we have a communion going on. I think somewhat supported by, actual astral casters, but also somewhat using, these slave matrices. More bugs, of course, a little bit of quickness probably on our mechanical men back here, right? So that's always a good buff. Really, in general, although I am expecting this battle to last kind of a long time, so in that case, quickening is kind of better on the inanimates, that aren't going to fall. They aren't going to tire themselves out. Fog warriors, of course, is part of our stitched together communion because we're early age Ulm. There's our foul vapors, of course. More Rage of the Cornered Rat, Strength of Giants, and all that good stuff all over the place. More bugs, always bugs. A little bit of Howl, a classic. If you're a nature power, or even if you found some nature mages, throwing some Howl into big battles, even if it's just to prevent the other person's Howl from messing with you too much, I think is definitely a good idea. And then this is one of our Wraith Lords that's going to be going in with Soul Vortex, and then let's see, they're throwing out a couple sprites because sure, why not? the air nature path. And then let's see, more. This is actually kind of sad. I think I messed this up. This is the skeleton script, but this guy's one of the ones that's been kitted out, so I messed that up. And then this is probably worth noting. I went with Mass Protection. We do actually have, I've been talking about Army of Gold and Army of Lead, and trying to hit that Alteration 9, which we have hit. And I'm not actually sure I ever cast Army of Gold or Army of Lead in this game. Anyway, we're not casting it here, and this is primarily because both of those spells give vulnerability to shock, and there's a decent chance that Helheim is going to be doing Wrathful Skies, right? So Mass Protection is not as good. It's not as much, natural protection. That's, I think, half, right? You get 10 instead of 20 from Army of Gold or Army of Lead, but I'm thinking, I was just really worried about Wrathful Skies, so I felt that this is probably better. Not really expecting a lot of fire magic. Mass Protection gives you susceptibility to fire, but, Helheim, they don't really have a lot of fire mages, and, they haven't really been doing a lot of fire magic. So, we'll see. Maybe should have gone with the better protection buff, and it's well, if he eats some lightning, it's fine, and a lot of our troops are pretty resistant to lightning anyway, right? So it's for our mechanical men going down to shock resistance 10, that's fine. So so this is maybe a mistake, but it's what I was thinking. Our god is just gonna spam out a bunch of weapons of sharpness, which is actually a bit tough for us to cast with kind of our low level earth casters. We've definitely lost some of our earth boots, so a little sad to be using the god to just do weapons of sharpness in kind of a showdown fight, but that's where we're at. More stuff. Mass regeneration, always really helpful, in these late game battles. Little less helpful, I don't actually think inanimates even get regeneration, so that's a bit sad, but we have a lot of units that will like it. Primarily our Yetis will really like it. So, for battles that you expect to go on a long time, and usually these late game fights kind of tend to go that way because both sides put up, a ton of buffs that help keep things alive. Mass regeneration is really useful. More skeletons, of course. We have a guy that's going to be Rigor Mortis. So we're not going to bother with Wind of Death. This is our air-empowered guy because we have too much stuff on the field. We just end up Wind of Deathing ourselves, especially because our MR sucks. So Rigor Mortis, sure, why not? That is going to, negatively affect a lot of our mages who are living. But we also have a lot of, dead mages, right? We have a lot of undead. We have a lot of mechanical men. Like I think we have more inanimates than Helheim. So I think on the balance, like rigor mortis is going to help us more than it hurts us. We'll see. More quickness, ground army, right? Which is just the army-wide lightning protection buff. It's funny. Like I think it says like, yeah, highly resistant to lightning and thunder. This is a lie. Shock resistance 5 doesn't do that much, but it helps. So we're doing it. We can do it. A little more weapons of sharpness. Like, yeah, here's a guy with some boots. So, he can actually, I think it's one of our Earth 3s. And yeah, he'll actually be able to, we have some backup here as well, right? So we have another ground army here just in case. Troll King, you can probably rely on getting a spell off. They're pretty beefy and pretty hard to take out. So probably didn't need to do this, but definitely having backup casters for your most important spells. I think in general for these big battles, if you can afford it, and pull it off, definitely worthwhile. So anyway, we've got some backup ground army there. More bugs, Curse of Stones, sure, kitchen sink, anti-magic, definitely essential. Turn 1, that's good. So yeah, like to see that, definitely. Yeah, there's one of our golems that's going to be going in, one of our Wraith Lords going in. Relief, which is just the battlefield-wide like protection against rigor mortis. It just helps with your fatigue issues. So that'll be nice. More guys that are going in, more skeletons, of course. Let's see, Will of the Fates, right? So luck for everyone. Again, I don't think that affects our inanimates. So like our mechanical men aren't going to care about that, but we do have some living units. So yeah, I mean, this is the kitchen sink aspect. We definitely have like elements of this army that are kind of like working against each other, right? It's like we're doing Will of the Fates, but we have a bunch of inanimates, right? We're doing rigor mortis, but we have a bunch of living troops. So yeah, and I mean, right, like that. The nature of kitchen sink, right? Just throwing everything. Let's see. So that was Will of the Fates, more skeletons, and whew, there we go. And of course, finish out with the classic Strength of Giants, Legions of Steel, an early age Ulm classic. So we'll see if the kitchen sink can stop Helheim. Obviously Helheim has quite a bit of stuff. It'll be interesting to see. Like otherwise, just some more rating. Like it is starting to taper off a little bit. We can't really replace any of our losses, because we're just pretty much locked at 0 gold. We're still rating with some stuff. And like I said, overall, the rating war has gone fine, and I think, continues to more or less go fine. We're giving as good as we get, but obviously, none of that really matters, if we can't win any major army fights. This is pretty much everything we have left. Not quite everything. Definitely an argument to be made. This is sort of still hanging out. I was kind of expecting another attack and was pretty worried. I mean, at this point I'm not worried about Vanheim. They were completely on board with we need to try to stop Helheim. And I think had enough other problems, although they do have still quite a bit of stuff on our border. So in terms of leaving all this stuff behind, it actually isn't that much stuff really. So yeah, I'm not really sure how much more. There's nothing here that we don't already have in our kitchen sink approach. But yeah, maybe mobilizing some of this to try to make another attack against Helheim would have been a better use of it. But I don't know, hard to say. I think that more or less covers, turn 94. All right, Ulm turn 95, and yep, here's our kitchen sink going up against Helheim's army, and we already have the storm up thanks to that item. So yeah, without further ado, we already talked through all this army. I don't think there's any need to rehash it. So let's see how this goes. Actually, probably should slow this down so that my computer is at least less unhappy. There's foul vapors going up. So let's see. So this is our rigor mortis. That was maybe Doom or Curse of Stones. Fields of the Dead, I'll have to look that one up. We have a Howl going up. This is our relief, I believe. Yeah, our foul vapors. Our garbage goes in first. There's our bears and our crappy long dead. They're just getting absolutely slaughtered. That's to be expected. Let's see. So that's our Howl. Okay, looks like we both have relief up. I don't know whose is whose. Both coming from Ivy Kings. And then let's see, did he manage to get a Howl up? No, that's our Fell Vapors. And then in terms of these, okay, so yeah, Fields of the Dead from Helheim, Rigor Mortis from us, Wailing Winds from Helheim, and yeah, of course, the Natural Storm. So let's keep on rolling. So yeah, no flying, right? So our Wyverns are going to waddle forward. I hesitate to click on things. Yeah, there's Doom. So everybody is cursed now on like one side or the other. And I'm not sure what that was. Oh boy, let's zoom in here. So yeah, some air elementals coming out from Helheim. Let's, I don't know, pull from the grave. There's a lot of spells going off. I'll have to look some of these up after the fact. It looks like our Fog Warriors did go off. Let's take a look and let's grab, like, yeah, this guy. A random, apparently we brought some Vine Men in. Okay, so it's decaying, so probably there was a Wind of Death from someone. It must have been from Helheim, or maybe just some decay magic coming out. So yeah, so our Weapons of Sharpness went down. Mass Regeneration went down, and we can't tell whether or not, I think these guys are always poison resistant. Yeah, our Mass Protection went down, although, yeah, so normally these guys only have 7 natural protection. 10 is coming from the from our cast of the spell, and then this is Ground Army, and then yeah, I don't think we can tell luck from that guy if we got our Will of the Fates off. Looks like maybe not, because I'm not actually seeing any luck, and our Yeti definitely should have luck if it did go off. So not sure what happened there. Like, there's definitely like some soul slays and things like that coming out. So possibly our Will of the Fates caster went down. It was a Gullum, or reasonably tanky. So wouldn't expect them to go down immediately, and they were set to cast it relatively quickly. But also may have just messed up something in terms of like gems on the commander and things like that. So looks like Helheim is actually getting like a bit of a rap, although we have, oh boy, we do have plenty of guys like on guard commander, and like, yeah, we have the numbers here. But these Hell Herdings are definitely going to be a problem. I think that the Hell Herdings are kind of like better than anything we're bringing to the field. And I've talked before about how, like, in the end game here, we have so many buffs layered on that, like, in some ways it kind of doesn't matter, what the base quality of the troop is. But when you're up against somebody that's layering on pretty much equal amounts of buffs, and I would say that, Helheim is, right? They definitely got a Fog Warriors off. Let's take a look. And yeah, so they are using the either Army of Lead or Army of Gold. I'm not sure which, but so they have better protection than we do, which is definitely a problem. And there's no Wrathful Skies coming down. Now, I mean, we are getting hit, just by like some Thunder Strikes and some Lightning Bolts, right? Because he has some Air Casters, but there's not enough lightning damage here. Like, I think Mass Protection was definitely a mistake, and in retrospect, I think one that I could have seen coming, right? Because Wrathful Skies is not great to use when you bring a large army, to the battle. And Helheim has a bunch of stuff here that they don't want to have die, to random Thunder Strikes. So I think I probably could have actually foreseen that it was unlikely that Helheim would be casting, Wrathful Skies. But, I didn't realize that. Our mechanical men are doing pretty well. I would say, our Yetis are not doing fantastic. There's no darkness, which is kind of interesting. So they actually have, like, decent attack skill. Was definitely expecting some darkness from Helheim. I'm not sure what happened there, because most of their stuff looks like possibly the Hell Herdings ran. Yeah, looks like we routed the Hell Herdings. So like there I was talking them up. They only have 12 morale. Oh well, this guy, yeah, he's just Battle Fright. So not an accurate representation, but still, like, their morale failed. So we're doing okay. Obviously, like, Rigor Mortis, let's see, is Rigor Mortis still up? I should be careful. Yeah, so Rigor Mortis is still up. We have Relief. Yeah, our bird's routed. That's not that surprising. Yeah, so quite a bit of fatigue on this bird. Let's see, not so much fatigue on this sea troll. Like, obviously, it's fairly random, and both sides have relief up. So it's going to be quite a long time. Now, relief doesn't perfectly counter rigor mortis. I think rigor mortis has a greater fatigue output than relief can shut down. Yeah, there's some wolves messing with the casters in the back line. Love to see that. Helheim did not put up Howl, so I think, our Howl is definitely going to be doing some work for us. Our Wyverns are still in the fight. Let's see, did this guy get berserked? No, he did not, and he is super asleep. Yeah, the cold, cold with cold-blooded mixed with rigor mortis, like, forget about it. So yeah, we do have some Wyverns that move forward. These are probably the ones that got berserked. No, I'm not really seeing any berserk. Oh, you know what? I think you lose berserk when you fall asleep. So that maybe they were berserking at one point, but yeah, there's probably no Wyverns left that are yet still awake. Looks like our Yetis have routed. Of course, like all this is being fought under where is it? Wailing Winds, right? So our mechanical men aren't going to be affected. But everything else will be, and we're starting to thin out a bit on our front line here, which is not good. Our mechanical men are still holding strong, but I really think like that mass protection versus Army of Gold or Army of Lead is really starting to tell. Also, like Ether Warriors are super nasty. They have weapons of sharpness. He has mass regeneration. He did put up whatever the poison, Serpent's Blessing, right? So Foul Vapor is not really going to matter so much. I think Foul Vapors, no, Foul Vapors is still here. Yeah, so we did a good job kitting out our Jade Sorceress, because she's not the most hardy chassis, and there's definitely a lot of nasty stuff that's going down. Like this is a Cloud of Death from someone, I think, or yeah, that's definitely Cloud of Death. Hard to tell because there's also the Rigor Mortis going on. But yeah, so this is starting to look concerning. We're still doing okay, like definitely, yeah, there's our Wraith Lord in there still doing some work because it's like one of the more kitted out ones. Yeah, so that's good news. Like he's probably getting some kills in. But yeah, I mean Helheim has definitely like broken some stuff through. Here's like a Van Jarl Thug. Yeah, you can see like everybody's cursed on both sides. I think we probably both did Doom, which is pretty standard for like these giant armies. Our skeleton production is like really lacking, right? So like here's our Wraith Lord, like he is awake. Like why are you not making skeletons, buddy? I think part of the problem, right? Like, yeah, look at this. And this is a place too. So we did anti-magic, which absolutely is something we should be doing, right? But this troll already has like decent base magic resistance, and now he has anti-magic on him as well. So we're not actually like getting that many drains off. So like, yeah, anyway, I've talked before about how like the trolls are not great for how I'm trying to use them here as like, soul drain or soul vortex like batteries for the fatigue. But yeah, so I think it just kind of highlights, and also like, yeah, they're going into terror spam, which like maybe, I don't know, I would prefer like disintegrate, I would think, although of course pretty good magic resistance. Like, yeah, how are they getting +6? I'm pretty sure anti-magic is only +4. Yeah, we're only getting +4. I'll have to look up. I don't know how he's getting +6. That bum. But yeah, so that's probably why they're going into the terror spam rather than like something like disintegrate. But yeah, probably would still prefer something like disintegrate. Let's see if we can speed this up a bit because yeah, this is taking a while. But yeah, and then we missed. Maybe we'll have to take a quick look and see what happened to Shiverleaf. But I don't see him anywhere, so I think it's safe to say that he is long since dead. And yeah, we're starting to get some more serious routes. Like, yeah, I mean, obviously any of our casters that don't have morale hats. A little sad to see a Spectre routing, but they don't have perfect morale. Our Wraith Lords like are doing a good job hanging out. Yeah, like I said, I think the fact that I'm not really sure how much the skeleton production really would help us because they wouldn't be getting like weapons of sharpness buffs and things like that. I'm also not really seeing our god any. Oh wait, no. Here's our god. Okay, yeah, morale failed on our god as well. Although, wow, super asleep. Yeah, so didn't really set him up to deal with rigor mortis. Like I said, this is a bit of a kitchen sink approach. So there's plenty of elements of this army that didn't really work together. But that's just kind of the nature of the kitchen sink approach. And yeah, I'd say this is definitely turned against us. Probably most of this stuff back here is asleep, and we've like kind of lost all the mechanical men. Yeah, I don't really think that we really have anything left that's going to be able to resist Helheim. So it might take a second. We'll speed this up, but because a lot of their stuff is probably asleep as well. Yeah, we don't need to watch through all this. I think anything that's left, except maybe the golems. Yeah, the golems, like, they still wake up and do a thing every once in a while, but by and large, like, this is just going to be a slaughter of our sleeping mages, and eventually I will be able to get off this screen with the golem. Come on, client, you can do it. He got weapons of sharpness, so he has a very sharp fist. So yeah, that does not work out for us, sadly. We were beaten. And we lose, the majority of our stuff. Some things survive. We don't do nothing, so that's good. He loses 1 golem, so that's good. 3 Van Jarls out of 15. That's not fantastic. 4 Ether Warriors out of 15, also not fantastic. Only 8 of his Hell Herdings. And mostly his losses are like chaff, right? Like 57 long dead horsemen, that's not a big deal. Like 15 sea trolls, also not really a big deal. So 77 kills, but we just didn't really have like enough like killing components. The battle lasted for a long time. So we did a much better job in terms of getting around Wailing Winds, and then obviously we didn't have to deal with Dark Skies, so that helped us a lot there. And we got enough like protection style buffs off, barring the mass protection stuff that I discussed. So the battle lasted a long time. We did a good job there, but we just didn't really have, like, the Yetis weren't super killy. They got some kills. Yeah, like far and away the Wraith Lords. I actually think like kitting the Wraith Lords for melee might have been a better idea. I think using them, I think we had enough chaff. So we didn't really need to generate the skeletons, and then of course they didn't really generate that many skeletons for all the reasons that I discussed. But even still, they far and away got the most kills out of anything in our army. So I think maybe kitting more of them for melee might have been a better play, but yeah, definitely needed something that was going to be able to do some killing. And we didn't really have. The mechanical men did okay in terms of killing, but not great. They don't have very good strength, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, like, better than average, but not like amazing. And 1 attack that's decently damaging. So they definitely hold the line pretty well, other than, hit points is a bit of an issue, and, they can't regenerate. Let's just take a quick look at if Shiverleaf accomplished anything. He at least had like some. There he goes forward with the chaff. But I'm also kind of curious to see if the mechanical men regenerate. I'm pretty sure they do not. Yeah, there he is, getting squished by an air elemental. Oh, I think maybe he gets that air elemental. He actually survives quite a bit longer than I expected. Now he's trying to kill some Hell Herdings. What is it that eventually gets him? Probably some lightning. I don't know if he's really kitted out to survive lightning, or he probably doesn't care too much about Cloud of Death and things like that being inanimate. Yeah, so there you go. Shiverleaf actually survives. Like, now he's locked in and not really doing anything, but it's sort of the nature of like melee combatants. Although it is a little harder with like the larger units, right? He takes up an entire square. I think he's size 5. Oh, yep, there he goes. That was like a Cloud of Death, I think, or something like that, which makes sense. That's one of the reasons that, like, lumber constructs are pretty terrible, is they have, pretty low magic resistance. So, like, yeah, putting that much gear on a lumber construct is definitely sacrificial. Here he is. Let's see, negative 910 HP, probably got soul slayed. No, opposition. Yeah, so that's like it targets magic beings specifically. So yeah, there you go. Poor Shiverleaf. So yeah, with a trade like this, we're pretty much out of the game in any kind of like meaningful way. Our Wraith Lords will reform, so it's not like we don't have anything, but we can't really realistically resist Helheim at this point. And to that end, there was a battle at our fortress. I don't think there's really We'll see how much retreated. Yeah, so, right, because if you lose the fort in a storm, your units don't retreat there. So that's at least something. So some stuff may have survived in the retreat. Not really sure why we didn't bring out this random stuff that we have in here. Probably just a mistake. But yeah, obviously Helheim takes this empty fort, no problem. And then we can quickly roll through the rating, and also we failed another mind hunt, as happens. So yeah, this is probably a magic phase, you know, Van Jarl dropping in on minimal PD, new prophet coming out, yeah, some stuff we don't care about, and then yeah, undefended provinces being captured, some Van Jarls capturing, you know, minimal PD. These are Helheim's Van Jarls. This is probably one of our something that retreated from that battle that we just watched. And then yeah, our Great Bears do manage to take out some barbarians. Unfortunately, they then run into a Vanheim raider who's like, hey, a neutral province that has a bunch of gems. I'm interested in that. So I wasn't like closely working with Vanheim. You know, it's sort of just, we both felt that like Helheim is close to winning, so we should probably try to stop them, but you know, we weren't really like allies per se. But yeah, this is definitely kind of sad because that is a very valuable province, so we'll probably come in and try to retake this because you know, we're not out of it completely. And then yeah, here's our Wraith Lord doing his thing. Yeah, we don't have a lot of money. Wolves, you know, continuing to take provinces, so that's nice. And then yeah, we don't have any money, and then AI Satis being annoying, so that's nice. Like to see that, since they're not annoying us. And then yeah, you know, Van Jarl is cleaning out wyverns. It's just like kind of wyverns sprinkled all over the place now. And then our Steel Maidens doing some raiding. They actually take out a Van Jarl, so that's nice. You know, Steel Maidens, they're real dangerous. This guy was probably unkitted, but you know, still. And Helheim clearing out some barbarians, always with the barbarians. And then yeah, this is us breaking out of one of our forts that had been locked down, and he just left like a, you know, minimal Blackhawks there. You know, yeah, we lose some undefended provinces, trying to pick up undefended provinces with some Mound Kings, but you know, unfortunately they run into 1 PD and aren't able to handle that. Axe Warriors, you know, continuing to do their thing, and you can see that like, you know, 10 Axe Warriors, I was using groups of like 20 to 30, which is like 30 is definitely too many, like unless you're expecting really heavy resistance. But like at this point now, and this is probably just a group that's been whittled down, and you know, I haven't been able to replace anything, but it's like if you're only going up against 1 PD, like I mean, probably like 6 Axe Warriors would do the trick against 1 PD. But like yeah, so like a group of 10 Axe Warriors, like totally viable. That said, like I don't know, Warrior Chiefs are kind of expensive, so it's like if you're gonna put the group together, you might as well go with 20 in case you do run into 6 PD or 10 PD. But anyway, just some thoughts on like trying to raid like as cheaply as possible. But yeah, 10 Axe Warriors against 1 PD, no problem. And then of course, yeah, we know all about that battle. And then yeah, this is kind of a random attack, just an adventurer that Helheim got, and some Van Jarls runs into like an actual army and is defeated. And then let's see, this is kind of an interesting one. So this is Helheim attacking that, you know, stack of Oni in the fort. So yeah, we've seen similar, you know, forces like this from Yomi, and I don't actually remember exactly how this goes, but oh, okay, interesting. Darkness is coming up this time. Okay, Heat from Hell actually coming from Yomi, from the Dione, so kind of a fatigue play, which like maybe, yeah, definitely a fatigue play, because also Rigor Mortis coming out from Yomi. And I mean, he has enough stuff, so I could kind of see the reasoning, right? Because it's like, well, you know, you're going to have to try to chop through all of these Oni. Like, good luck with that, especially with, you know, like 2 fatigue plays. But I think the problem is it's just going to be, you know, Wailing Winds. Although, funny enough, you know, I say that, and like, no Wailing Winds. Yeah, so okay, that makes sense. Yeah, Yomi cast Darkness, because yeah, that doesn't really do like Helheim any favors. But yeah, Helheim not actually bringing like a lot of battlefield, like no battlefield wide spells really, except maybe, yeah, Natural Storm coming from a Windmaster. So you never know, he could have a Windmaster in here, but yeah, I know that Yomi has a bunch of Windmasters in this army. So Yomi has all of the battlefield wide buffs up. Here's a Wraith Lord. pretty kitted out. This is from Helheim. Yeah, you know, Boots of Quickness, always classic. And then, yeah, this berserks him. Not that doesn't really need any help in terms of routing, but now he definitely won't route. Vine Shield, good stuff. Yeah, a lot of like thugs, it looks like, mostly. Yeah, kind of surprised, like, you know, not seeing any Wailing Winds. See what these guys have on them. Yeah, they have the air shield. I guess that makes sense because there's a lot of like throw flames from the Oni, and then yeah, he has fire resistance. So it looks like Helheim did manage to get like some battlefield wide resistance buffs up. But yeah, like kind of just relying. Yeah, here's some like Banelord thugs. Yeah, you know, pretty normal kitting. They're all like anti-demon, right? They got these demon banes. Yeah, they're just. Ooh, interesting. Earthquake. Is that coming from? That's probably coming from Helheim, I would think. Yeah, here we go. Troll King, and this is Helheim's. So that's, yeah, Earthquake. So, yeah, obviously that's a really good way to clear out a bunch of demon chaff. There's still, you know, quite a bit of chaff. Like, a lot of these have probably gone into ghost form now. Yeah, but this, you know, the fatigue plate looks like didn't really work out for Yomi, right? Because, like, it's his stuff that's all fatigued out. They are fire resistant, right? So, you know, they should be fine from heat from hell. And I'm not sure if they're normally fire resistant, but if they aren't, he managed to get the battlefield wide buff up. But yeah, I mean, Rigor Mortis is like probably hurting Yomi, right? Worse, so like, you know, because even though these are demons, and yeah, some of them are undead, I'm not sure, like the spirit form is also like fatigued out here. I think it's, you know, they're not inanimate, even the ghost forms. So I'm not sure if the ghost form carries the fatigue over that it had in the normal form. Not actually super familiar, you know, with like Yomi's Oni. But I mean, Helheim has, right, some inanimate undead, right? Or no, these guys are not inanimate. Interesting. Although, yeah, they have the Boots of Quickness. So maybe it is specifically the undead tag. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, I mean, definitely also, obviously, Soul Vortex is going to help a lot. So I think like these guys are probably just going to chew through all of this. And I don't think Yomi managed to really get too many buffs on these guys in terms of like, yeah, like they didn't get they have chaos power. That's nice. But like no strength buffs really, like no weapons of sharpness. So, like, I just don't think that they're going to be able to punch through. Like, yeah, 28 protection isn't perfect. And 25, yeah, you know. But it's still pretty high. So, I think, you know, these unbuffed Oni, especially since, like, most of them are asleep. Yeah, you know, I don't think they're going to be able to do anything. And then this is maybe a lifelong protection that's pumping out imps? Yeah, it must be, because I don't see any blood slaves back here. So, yeah, and I mean, those are really powerful, right? And in this situation where, like, everybody's asleep, you know, there's going to be more and more imps. Now, I mean, a lot of these imps are falling asleep as well, but, you know, there'll be more imps. And then, yeah, I think the storm has gone down. So, obviously, Rigor Mortis is pretty nasty for... Yeah, I think probably these guys are dying. I don't know, maybe not actually. The 180, 189 fatigue. I'm not actually sure what's killing these Windmasters, but you definitely can die from excessive fatigue. Let's just take a quick look. Yeah, so there you go. They are taking damage from excessive fatigue. And it's hard to say. Yeah, so some of this is heat fatigue, so maybe he didn't. Yeah, it looks like Yomi didn't get they didn't get an army-wide fire protection buff up, and it was just relying on the fact that his Oni have, I'm assuming, inbuilt fire protection, but of course, you know, his casters don't. And it's just like one of the difficulties of using independent mages is, you know, they don't necessarily combine super well with, you know, some of your national traits that you're used to having. So yeah, I don't think we need to watch the rest of this battle. Let's take a look at the results. Interesting. Helheim attacked Yomi. But who won? That's different. So yeah, this is actually a lot more losses than I would have expected. So, you know, maybe we should have watched that whole battle, but it would take a long time to get to that point, so I won't reload it up for us. But it looks like somehow Yomi managed to turn things around at least a bit, because this is pretty significant losses. So, you know, I was thinking that Helheim was going to be able to clean things up. But yeah, I mean, the Wraith Lord went down and going to come back. But I mean, yeah, that's almost a complete wipe for Helheim's. Now, I mean, on the other hand, it was like literally a complete wipe for Yomi. So I'm not actually sure who comes out on top for that. There's not too much else. Some unexpected events, I guess. Yeah, hurricanes. Always with these hurricanes. I wonder. I have to check. Maybe that's a spell. I don't think so. There's a disease. Yeah, some ill omens, and then hey, yeah, some province income. That's nice. It's a little late, guys. And then, yeah, even with that extra 15 gold, we still couldn't afford things. And then, yeah, a bunch of our Wraith Lords came back. So let's take a look at that throne. So yeah, so it looks like that was actually kind of a victory for Yomi, I guess. Definitely, like, Helheim doesn't have the fort. Not really sure what happened there. But, it's still under siege, and if the battle report is to be believed, Yomi has absolutely nothing left. So Helheim will be able to take that next turn, and then, of course, they did take our throne, and then, yeah, it looks like, what was the battle here? Looks like they did not take Vanheim's. Yeah, this is just, like, the lone Van Jarl against, like, oh, this is just some PD. So they do not have Vanheim's throne, so they still need one more throne, definitely. But yeah, they are pretty close. And then yeah, here's another throne that's been locked down. This has been locked down by Vanheim though. And yeah, this is I think where we've been seeing like the Ice Devils and probably like a bunch of Vanheers as well. No, but yeah, quite a few commanders. So I don't know if they're gonna have the siege strength to crack the fort. There might be some gate cleavers in here. Which is, kind of a way, it's an item that provides like a lot of siege strength. We've seen it in use actually in like sort of an anti-thug, anti-super combatant role, but also provides a lot of siege strength. So it's a good way to have like a group of thugs actually be able to break down fort walls. Not that this is necessarily like a group of thugs, but it's very heavy on the casters, like very light on the troops. So might struggle a bit to crack a fort, and they have not cracked it yet. But anyway, so Vanheim is striking back. So assuming Vanheim manages to capture this throne, then even if they lose this one, that's okay if they trade. But yeah, Helheim just needs one more throne, and other than this throne, right, being sieged by Vanheim, I don't think any of their other thrones are really under any serious threat. So yeah, in terms of what we are doing, we're striking out, we're attacking a bunch, because like, why not? Mostly like raiding style attacks. Like we are sending somebody. Who are we sending? Yeah, we're just sending a really messed up, super messed up Wraith Lord. Tends to happen with these immortals, and then of course everybody gets cursed, so you end up taking more afflictions. Not sure. Oh yeah, this guy's been feeble-minded, so we would like to just be rid of him. Because we still have to pay him, unfortunately, and he can't really do anything for us, so we're going to send him in, and he's hopefully going to die, and our upkeep will be in a bit of a better situation. We're still not making any money even with all of our losses. So like, yeah, in terms of like what's left for us to do, like I said, like still like a little bit of raiding with whatever we have left. I think the most realistic thing, we're doing some forging with the mages that we have left, and we're going to try to like kit out our Wraith Lords. We're doing like a little bit of ghost summoning, but yeah, I mean like pretty much we're looking at like trying to kit out our Wraith Lords. We are also bringing in some long dead horsemen of our own, so just gonna try to mount like a final defense, and like maybe like try to like break into this fort, or at least lock it down. But at this point, there's not really a whole lot that we can be doing. So just gonna try to experiment and kit out Wraith Lords in different ways. Like I said, I think that was one thing that I probably could have done better in this major like army fight. So we still have the Wraith Lords. They're really our only like remaining like major asset, so I'm gonna try to kit them out and see what we can do with them. And yeah, I think that more or less covers it. So it was a rough one, but that was turn 95.